Fluency in English is a goal for many people. I remember when I was a student, I wanted to speak English well. I was shy and made many mistakes. One day, a teacher told me, "You can be fluent if you practice every day." This changed my life. When you want something, you must work for it. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's like planting a tree. You plant the seed, water it, and give it sunshine every day. Then one day, it grows strong. One day, a student came to me. She was sad. She said, "Teacher, I want to speak English, but I forget words." I smiled and said, "Don't worry. Fluency is about practice, not remembering every word." She asked, "How can I practice?" I said, "You can practice by talking to friends, listening to stories, or singing songs. Practice is everywhere." When I was a student, I loved stories. I listened to them every night. My teacher read and I repeated the words. At first I was slow, but over time I got faster. I learned new words and my confidence grew. Another student asked me, "Is fluency about speaking fast?" I said, "No. It's about speaking clearly. It's about making others understand you. Speak with confidence, not speed." A boy in my class spoke fast, but no one understood him. I told him, "Speak slowly, use simple words." He listened, and soon everyone understood him. He became more confident. Fluency is like a journey. You take one step at a time. Don't rush. Enjoy the process. One day, you'll look back and see how far you've come. I've seen students who were afraid to speak, but with time and practice, they became fluent. There is a secret to fluency. The secret is simple. Listen. Listen to others, to stories, to songs. The more you listen, the more you learn. I knew a girl who loved music. She listened to English songs every day. Soon, she started singing along. Her fluency grew because she listened and repeated. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are good teachers. I remember a student who was afraid of mistakes. She didn't speak because she feared others would laugh. I told her, "Don't worry about mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson." One day, she spoke in class. She made many mistakes but didn't stop. Over time, she got better. She said, "I'm not afraid anymore." That was the day she started becoming fluent. Fluency is also about thinking in English. When you think in English, speaking becomes easier. I had a student who always translated from his language to English. It made him slow. I told him, "Think in English." He tried, and slowly he became more fluent. Another student loved to talk. He started sentences in English, but switched to his language. I told him, "Stay in English. Even if you don't know a word, explain it in English." This helped him stay focused, and soon he only spoke in English. Reading helps fluency too. When you read, you see how sentences are made. You learn new words. I remember when I was learning English, I read simple books. I wrote down new words and used them in sentences. This helped me remember them. One day, a student came with a book. She said, "I didn't understand everything." I told her, "That's okay. The more you read, the more you'll understand." She kept reading, and later she told me, "Now I understand much more." Fluency also means listening to yourself. Sometimes record yourself speaking, then listen. See where you can improve. One student did this every day. She recorded herself reading stories, then listened to find areas to improve. She became more fluent. Practicing with a friend is another great way to improve. Two of my students spoke only in English every day. They helped each other with words they didn't know. Over time, both of them became fluent. Fluency also comes from using English in real situations. Try speaking English when you go to the market or with friends. The more you use English, the more fluent you'll become. I had a student who worked in a shop. He decided to speak only in English with customers. At first it was hard, but over time he became confident and fluent. Be curious. When you hear a new word, ask what it means and try using it in your next conversation. One student asked me about every new word he heard. He used them often and his fluency grew. Having a goal helps too. Ask yourself, why do I want to be fluent? A student wanted to travel to an English-speaking country. This was her goal. She practiced every day, and before her trip, she became fluent. Chapter 2. Learning English is a journey, and every step matters. When you start, it may feel hard, but every small step brings you closer to fluency. Every word you learn is like a brick in the building of your English. It may take time, but with practice, you will see the progress. One of the first things to remember is that fluency doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and practice, just like learning to ride a bike. At first, it is difficult, but with practice, it becomes easier. You might fall or make mistakes, but that is part of learning. I had a student who was afraid to make mistakes. She thought if she made a mistake, people would laugh at her. I told her, "Don't be afraid of mistakes. Everyone makes them. What matters is that you keep going." She started to speak more. She made mistakes, but she kept practicing. One day she said, "I feel better about speaking now. I am not scared anymore." Her confidence grew with each day, and soon she became much more fluent. Another way to practice is to listen to English every day. You can listen to songs, stories, or even news. The more you listen, the more words you learn. Your brain starts to recognize the sounds and patterns in English. Over time, this will help you speak more naturally. There was a boy in my class who loved sports. He started listening to English sports programs. At first, he didn't understand everything, but he kept listening. Soon, he could understand most of what was being said. His fluency improved, and he started speaking more confidently. Listening is very important, but speaking is just as important. Don't be afraid to speak, even if it feels hard at first. The more you speak, the better you will get. Try to find someone to practice with. If you don't have anyone, practice alone. I remember when I was learning English, I would stand in front of a mirror and talk to myself. I would practice simple sentences like, "How are you today?" or "I like to eat apples." It felt strange at first, but over time, I became more comfortable. Another good way to improve is by reading. Reading helps you see how sentences are made. You will also learn new words. If you read a book and don't understand something, don't give up. Look up the word or guess its meaning from the story. I once had a student who read a book every week. She loved reading, but sometimes the words were hard. She didn't stop reading, though. She kept going. A few months later, she came to me and said, "I can understand much more now." Writing is another way to practice. Writing helps you remember words and sentences. Start by writing simple sentences about your day. You can write about what you did, what you ate, or how you felt. The more you write, the better your English will become. I had a student who wrote in her notebook every day. She would write a few sentences about her day. At first, she made a lot of mistakes, but with time, her writing got better. She started writing longer sentences, and her vocabulary grew. When you practice English, try to use it in real-life situations. If you go to a store, try to speak in English. If you are with a friend, try to talk in English. Using English in daily life helps you become more fluent. I had a student who worked at a cafe. He decided to speak in English with his customers. At first, it was hard, but he didn't give up. He practiced every day. Over time, he became more confident. His English improved because he used it every day. If you want to be fluent, set small goals for yourself. Ask yourself, what do I want to learn today? Or, how can I improve this week? When you set a goal, it helps you stay motivated. I once had a student who wanted to improve her speaking. Her goal was to talk to one person in English every day. She did it, and her speaking got much better. There will be times when you feel frustrated. You might feel like you're not making progress. But don't give up. Fluency takes time, and it's normal to feel this way. Remember, every mistake is a lesson. Keep practicing, and you will improve. One of my students felt frustrated because she couldn't remember new words. I told her, "It's okay. The more you practice, the more words you will remember." She kept practicing every day, and soon she started remembering more words. She became more confident and fluent in English. Another important thing is to enjoy learning. Don't think of it as work. Think of it as something fun. If you enjoy learning English, it will be easier to practice every day. You can watch English movies, play games in English, or even sing along to your favorite songs. I knew a student who loved movies. She watched them in English with subtitles. At first, it was hard, but she kept watching. She started understanding more, and her fluency grew. Learning English is a process, and every day you get better. Don't rush. Enjoy the journey. The more you practice, the more you will improve. One day, you will look back and see how much you have learned. You will be proud of how far you've come. Keep going, and you will become fluent. Chapter 3. Every day is a chance to practice. It is important to make English a part of your daily life. The more you use it, the better you will get. You can practice anywhere and anytime. Even small moments can help you improve. One way to practice is by thinking in English. This will help you speak more naturally. At first, it might feel strange to think in English, but with time, it will become easier. Try to think about your day in English. What did you do? What did you eat? What was the weather like? The more you practice thinking in English, the more you will understand the language. I had a student who always translated from his language to English. This made him slow. I told him, "Try to think in English. Don't translate. Think directly in English." He tried it, and soon he became faster and more fluent. Another great way to practice is by listening to English. There are so many ways to listen. You can watch English videos, listen to songs, or even podcasts. It's important to listen to different kinds of English. Sometimes people speak fast, and sometimes they speak slowly. Listening to many types of English will help you understand better. There was a girl in my class who loved stories. She listened to English stories every day. At first, she didn't understand everything, but she didn't stop. She kept listening. After some time, she understood more and could speak better. Listening to stories helped her a lot. Reading is also a great way to improve. When you read, you see how sentences are made. You learn new words and how to use them. Start with simple books or articles. You can find many easy books for learners. If you don't understand a word, don't give up. Try to guess the meaning from the story, or look up the word in a dictionary. I had a student who loved to read. She started with easy books, and every time she learned a new word, she wrote it down. She used the new words in sentences, and soon she could use them in her speech too. Reading helped her a lot in becoming fluent. Writing is another important part of learning. When you write, you practice using the words you know. Start by writing about simple things, like your day or your favorite food. You can also write small stories. The more you write, the better your English will become. Don't worry about making mistakes. Writing is a great way to learn. I had a student who wrote in her notebook every day. She would write small sentences about what happened during the day. It was hard at first, but with time, her writing improved. She became more confident in speaking too, because she practiced with writing. Speaking is very important, but many students are afraid to speak. They think they will make mistakes, but you need to speak to become fluent. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. I had a student who was afraid to speak. She would only speak when she was sure she wouldn't make a mistake. I told her, "Don't worry about mistakes. Speak as much as you can. The more you speak, the better you will get." She started speaking more, and her confidence grew. Soon, she was speaking without fear of making mistakes. Another important way to practice is by speaking with others. Find someone to talk to in English. You can speak with a friend, a classmate, or even someone online. Speaking with others helps you learn faster. It's also a fun way to practice. You can learn new words from your friends, and they can learn from you. I remember a pair of students who were best friends. They decided to speak only in English with each other every day. At first, it was hard for them, but they kept practicing. Soon they could speak fluently together. They helped each other learn new words, and both became very good at English. If you don't have anyone to practice with, you can also speak to yourself. Try to talk about what you see around you. Describe your room, your family, or the things you do every day. It may feel strange at first, but it will help you think in English and speak more confidently. One of my students would describe everything around her. She would talk about the weather, the trees, and the people she saw. At first, it felt silly to her, but with time, she became more fluent. Her speaking became faster, and she could express herself better. Setting small goals is another way to stay motivated. Ask yourself, what do I want to learn today? Or, how can I practice more this week? Small goals help you focus and give you something to work towards. It's important to be patient with yourself. Learning takes time, but every little bit of progress is important. One of my students wanted to speak more confidently. Her goal was to talk to at least 3 people in English every week. She did it, and over time her fluency improved. Every conversation helped her become more comfortable speaking English. Fluency also comes from using English in real-life situations. If you go to the market, try speaking English. If you are in a restaurant, try ordering in English. Using English in daily life helps you learn faster. The more you use the language, the more fluent you will become. I had a student who worked in a shop. He decided to speak only in English with his customers. It was hard at first, but with time, he became confident. His English improved because he practiced every day with his customers. Every day you practice, you are getting closer to your goal. Be patient, stay motivated, and keep practicing. The more you practice, the more fluent you will become. You will see the progress, and one day you will be able to speak English just like a native speaker. Keep going. Chapter 4. Learning English is not just about practicing. It is also about believing in yourself. Sometimes when things get hard, you might feel like giving up. But you have to keep going. Believe that you can improve. With time and practice, you will get better. I once had a student who didn't believe she could speak English well. She always said, "I can't do it. My English is not good." I told her, "You can do it. Believe in yourself. You will get better every day." She started practicing more, and soon her English improved. She gained more confidence, and that helped her speak better. Another important thing is to stay consistent. It is better to practice a little every day than to practice a lot for one day and forget about it for the rest of the week. Even 10 minutes of practice every day is better than practicing for hours once in a while. When you practice every day, your brain gets used to the language, and you start to improve faster. I had a student who practiced English for just 10 minutes every morning. She would listen to a song, repeat the words, and then write a few sentences. It wasn't much, but she did it every day. Over time, her speaking and writing improved a lot. You don't have to practice only with books or classes. You can practice with the things you love. If you like movies, watch them in English. If you like music, listen to songs in English. If you like reading, pick up books or articles in English. This will make learning fun and help you practice without feeling like work. I had a student who loved cartoons. He watched his favorite cartoons in English. At first, he didn't understand everything, but he kept watching. The more he watched, the more he understood. Soon, he was able to watch the cartoons without subtitles. He was practicing without even realizing it. Another way to practice is by learning phrases, not just words. Learning whole sentences or phrases helps you understand how English works. It is easier to remember and use phrases than to try to remember individual words. For example, instead of just learning the word apple, learn the phrase, I like apples, or I eat an apple every day. This will help you speak more naturally. I had a student who learned a few simple phrases every week. She would practice saying these phrases out loud. When she needed to use them in real life, she was ready. Learning phrases helped her speak more confidently, and she sounded more fluent. It is also important to practice your pronunciation. If people can't understand you, it is hard to communicate. Listen to native speakers and try to copy the way they speak. Pay attention to how they say words. Repeat after them. This will help you sound more natural when you speak. There was a student in my class who had trouble with pronunciation. He would say words, but no one could understand him. I told him to listen closely to native speakers and try to say the words the same way. He practiced every day, and soon his pronunciation improved. People started to understand him better, and he felt more confident. Another great way to learn is by using apps or websites. There are many free apps that help you practice speaking, listening, and reading. Some apps have games that make learning fun. These apps can help you learn new words and phrases quickly. One of my students used an app every day to practice English. She practiced with the app for 15 minutes every morning. Over time, she learned a lot of new words and became more confident in speaking. Apps are a great tool to help you practice whenever you have a few minutes. Sometimes it is good to record yourself speaking. This helps you hear your mistakes and notice areas where you can improve. You can listen to your recordings and try to speak better next time. You will also hear how much you improve over time. I had a student who recorded herself every day. She would read a story or talk about her day. Then she would listen to her recording and try to fix the mistakes. After a few weeks, she could hear a big difference. Her speaking was much clearer, and she felt more confident. If you want to speak more fluently, you need to be patient. Fluency doesn't come quickly, but it comes with practice. Sometimes you will make mistakes, and that is okay. Mistakes are part of learning. Every time you make a mistake, you learn something new. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Keep going, and you will improve. One of my students was afraid to speak because he didn't want to make mistakes. I told him, "Don't worry about mistakes. Everyone makes them. What matters is that you keep trying." He started speaking more, and over time, his mistakes became fewer. He became much more fluent. Also, don't compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace. Some students learn faster, and some learn slower. The important thing is to keep practicing. If you keep practicing every day, you will improve. Don't worry about how fast others are learning. Focus on your own journey. I had a student who always compared herself to others. She would say, "Why can't I speak as well as they do?" I told her, "Don't compare. Focus on your own learning. Everyone improves at their own speed." She stopped comparing herself, and her English improved faster. Fluency is a journey. It takes time, patience, and practice. You may not speak perfectly right away, but that is okay. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. You will get better every day. Soon, you will look back and see how much you have learned. Fluency is possible, and you are getting closer to it every day. Keep going. Chapter 5. Every learner is different. Some students learn quickly, while others take more time. But no matter how fast you learn, the important thing is to keep going, keep practicing, and don't give up. Fluency comes with time, and you can achieve it if you stay patient and keep practicing every day. I once had a student who felt frustrated because he wasn't learning as quickly as others. He asked me, "Why am I not speaking well like my friends?" I told him, "Everyone learns at their own speed. The most important thing is that you are trying. Keep practicing and you will get better." He listened to me, and over time he became more confident and improved a lot. When learning English, it is important to stay positive. Sometimes you may feel like you are not making progress, but if you look back, you will see that you have learned a lot. Don't focus on the mistakes or things you don't know yet. Celebrate the small wins. Every new word, every new phrase, and every new sentence is a step towards fluency. One of my students had a difficult time with grammar. She would get upset when she made mistakes. I told her, "It's okay to make mistakes. It's part of learning. Every mistake is a chance to learn something new." She started to relax, and over time, her grammar improved. She learned to focus on what she was doing right instead of worrying about what she was doing wrong. Another student of mine loved to speak English but had trouble with reading. She would read slowly and didn't understand all the words. I encouraged her to keep reading. I told her, "Even if you don't understand every word, keep reading. The more you read, the more you will understand." She followed my advice, and soon she was able to read faster and understand more. The key was not to stop, but to keep practicing. It's also helpful to set goals for your learning. Think about why you want to speak English. Do you want to travel to an English-speaking country? Do you want to talk to people from different countries? Or do you want to get a job that requires English? Whatever your reason is, keep it in mind. Your goal will help you stay motivated. Every time you feel tired or frustrated, remind yourself of your goal and keep moving forward. One of my students had a clear goal. She wanted to travel to an English-speaking country. Every day, she practiced speaking and listening. She watched English movies, read books, and practiced speaking with her friends. Her goal kept her motivated, and soon she could speak confidently. She was ready for her trip, and that was a big success for her. Learning English is also about being curious. When you hear a new word, ask what it means. Look it up in a dictionary or search for it online. Try to use the word in a sentence. This will help you learn more words and remember them better. The more words you know, the easier it will be to speak fluently. I remember a student who was very curious about new words. Every time he heard a new word, he would ask me what it meant. Then, he would use it in a sentence and try to remember it. His vocabulary grew quickly, and so did his fluency. Being curious helped him learn faster. It is also helpful to practice in different ways. Don't just focus on one skill. Practice speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Each skill helps the other. If you only practice speaking, you may have trouble understanding when others speak. If you only practice reading, you may not be able to speak confidently. Try to balance all the skills. I once had a student who only wanted to speak English but didn't like reading. I told him, if you read more, you will be able to speak better. You will learn new words and understand how sentences are formed. He listened to me and started reading every day. Over time, his speaking became much better because he had learned more words and phrases. It's also important to stay relaxed when learning English. Many students feel nervous when they speak because they are afraid of making mistakes. But you don't have to be perfect. Fluency is not about being perfect. It is about being able to communicate. If you make a mistake, just keep going. People will understand you and they will appreciate that you are trying. I had a student who was afraid to speak because she thought people would laugh at her mistakes. I told her, don't worry about what others think. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is that you keep speaking. She started speaking more and soon became very fluent. Her fear of mistakes disappeared and her confidence grew. Sometimes it helps to find a study partner. If you have someone to practice with, it will make learning more fun and easier. You can help each other with new words, and you can practice speaking together. If you don't have anyone to practice with, you can also use language exchange websites or apps to find someone to talk to. I had 2 students who were best friends. They decided to practice speaking only in English every day. At first, it was difficult for them, but they kept helping each other. Soon, both of them became very fluent. Their friendship made learning English more enjoyable. Don't forget to take breaks. Learning English every day is important, but it's also important to rest. When you are tired, your brain needs time to relax and process the information you've learned. Don't feel bad if you need to take a break. Just come back to your practice the next day and keep going. I had a student who practiced for hours every day. She was tired and frustrated because she wasn't seeing quick results. I told her, take a break. Rest for a while, and then come back to your practice. You will improve with time. She listened to me, and after taking some breaks, she felt better and more focused. She made more progress after that. Fluency in English is not something that happens overnight. It takes time and effort. But with every word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every practice session, you are getting closer to your goal. Stay patient and keep practicing every day. Soon, you will look back and see how far you've come. You can do it.